Welcome to MongoDB TV. It's great to have you join us. I'm Shane McAllister. I'm on the developer relations team here at MongoDB. I'm really thrilled to have Rodrigo Leal, Principal Industry Solutions at MongoDB, with us today to explore how cutting-edge technologies such as AI-driven dynamic pricing are revolutionizing the retail landscape. So from boosting revenues or enhancing customer experiences, we're going to uncover how AI is transforming the way retail operators work with customers in real time. So as we get ready for this insightful session with all of the insights and the live demo at the end, get ready to jump into the world of retail revolution with Rodrigo. Rodrigo, very welcome to MongoDB TV.
Many thanks, Shane. It's wonderful to be on your show today. Many thanks for inviting me.
Not at all. It's always good to have guests. It's great to have people who are the experts. I sit my job here as the host, and I love to learn from new things. And I've seen some of your presentation, and it's super exciting. But before we get into the meat of today's presentation, Rodrigo, I love to know where, your background, where you've come from. What did you study? What companies have you been here leading all the way up to MongoDB? And also, what your day-to-day role here is in MongoDB.
Sure thing, Shane. Many thanks. And hello, everyone. My name is Rodrigo Leal. I'm being with MongoDB for almost 4 months now. But going back a little while, well, since I can remember, I always loved to play and tinker with computers, so that led the way for me to do a major in computer science back in yesterday. And afterwards, I began, once I got out of college, I had the opportunity to begin working with business intelligence. Back then, it was all trendy. Everyone wanted to have BI. Most of the companies were all about data analytics, the famous cubes of BI. So I had the opportunity to work with MicroStrategy, which is one of the biggest vendors of BI up to date. And when working with MicroStrategy, I had the opportunity to be working as a pre-sales consultant. So that way I got into the world of high tech. It was 16, 18 years ago. And it was wonderful because for me, it was being able to work with a lot of different customers and also work with data, understand their businesses. And one of my very first projects was with OXXO, which is one of the biggest retail stores here in Mexico. So that was some way to go into the industry. I really loved it. After maybe a year and a half of working with MicroStrategy, I had the opportunity to come and live in Mexico City. Actually from Monterrey up to the north of Mexico. So I had the opportunity to come to the city. And after maybe a year of working with MicroStrategy, I had the opportunity to join the Oracle team. Also, as a pre-sales consultant, also in business intelligence, and I had one of the best schools in life back then, working with such a huge company. And I spent there almost 4 years. But not before switching sides, as we call it, because first I was pre-sales and then I had the opportunity to be an account executive. Since the very beginning, I've been working with many industries here in Mexico and LATAM, mostly retail. That's why I have this opportunity of being here, but also financial services, telco. So it's been quite a ride working with many awesome customers in Mexico and Latin America. Afterwards, I had the opportunity of switching to a different aspect of high tech, because before it was mostly software. So I had the opportunity to work with NCR, which is a very big hardware vendor, software as well. But back then I had the opportunity to join the retail team also, and going back to pre-sales. And my first and most biggest customer was working with the Walmart global team. So we had the opportunity of doing a very, very large project in Mexico in which we convinced Walmart of changing all of its point of sales hardware from our competitor to NCRs. And it was a wonderful experience. I can say that I had the ride of my life, knowing Walmart to the depths, going to Bentonville, working with the customer on site for months, doing proof of concepts, demos, meetings, and it was once again an awesome and wonderful school to be there working with one of the largest retailers in the world. And then more recently, I had the opportunity of working with Qualtrics, which is a customer experience, employee experience vendor. During that part, I had the opportunity of once again switching from hardware now to software as a service. So I've had all different angles on high tech, and well, that's how after all of those experiences, I had the opportunity to join MongoDB as a principal industry solutions for retail. Given I have a little bit of experience in retail, and well, I have the opportunity of covering the whole Latin America right now in my position.
Excellent, excellent. Well, first of all, what an amazing experience that you've had through all of those companies, for Oracle, NCR, Qualtrics. Hardware or software, which is harder?
I would say hardware.
I'd agree.
Yeah, you have to tinker with the machines, and you have to carry them. That I believe that's one of the that's one of the things. When you have to show software, everything is on cloud now. But when you have to show hardware, for example, back then we were introducing self-checkout in Mexico because maybe 5-6 years ago there were none. So we had to carry the whole self-checkout machine from place to place, demos, expos, and so I would say hardware.
hardware. For the physical constraints of hardware then were the harder part.
Right.
I've been in both worlds as well too, and I think hardware is a much harder space to occupy than software. We can live deploy a fix in software and all of that sort of stuff. Hardware, it's very hard to debug, who's the culprit, right? So very, very hard. It's great to see so many people join us for this stream. We've got people from South Africa, India, Brazil, as well too, Sao Paulo, and Cameroon. So that's really good. Please do keep shout out. Let us know where you're coming from. From Mexico City, where you are, we've got Eduardo as well too. I'm not too sure if you know Eduardo, Rodrigo, but he says hello. So it's great
Most
to
probably,
join
yes.
us. Perfect. Look, I think the key thing, I suppose, in AI, before we get started with the presentation too, when did you first come across AI creeping its way into the retail solutions, etc.? Was it there before you joined MongoDB too? Had you had some experience of kind of the impending AIization of everything?
I can tell you that the first time I heard about AI was back when I was in college. It was already a thing back then. Being in computer science, some of the most advanced courses were on AI, which at the time was mostly, machine learning, algorithms. But when it really started to pick up, at least in our region, it was last year. It was like the boom of it. Creeping telco, retail, financial services, most of our customers were asking about it. But sideways, also the customer really wanted it, but didn't know what to do with it because I want to include AI. What about machine learning? But the first question we usually ask our customers is, what do you want to do with it? What is the service you want to get out of AI? So I believe it's been trendy in the last year, and I believe it's here to stay, but it has some considerations that everyone needs to account for when working with the AI. So to your question, I've started hearing a lot of it during the last year.
Excellent. And so is AI in retail, before we get into the nuts and bolts of it, is it going to help me or is it going to make me spend more? Does it help me or does it help the retailer, or both?
At the end, I believe that technology is, in this case, AI, is going to help us save money, but not in the way that, because some of the feelings is, well, AI is here, for example, to replace us. Not like that. It's going to refocus our teams, our personnel, our executives, everyone to do their jobs better. And sometimes, of course, we will have to maybe relocate some people, but to make them more efficient. I believe it's here to stay. Is going to help us save costs. But at the beginning, we need to answer a few questions. Why do you want it? What do you want to do with it? And in the end, I think it will optimize resources and it will help you, of course, save costs. I believe that.
Excellent. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to being convinced of that as well, too. So, and look, we have a wide variety of audience joining us here on MongoDB TV, from developers through to every other role in this space. I'm not too sure of our audience today who's familiar with retail, but your presentation, Rodrigo, is going to take us through kind of what AI can add to the retail experience. And then you have a demo of this in action towards the end as well. So why don't we get started in the presentation piece? And as I said earlier, anybody got any questions for Rodrigo as we make our way through this, please throw them in the chat. If we can answer them live while we're going through that, perfect. And if we don't get to them then during the conversation, we'll hopefully get to them towards the end as we wrap up as well too. So Rodrigo, the stage is yours. We'll bring up your screen here now and we'll get you started on to your presentations.
Wonderful. I believe my screen is up now.
Perfect. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Crystal clear.
So once again, many thanks for being here today with us on this session with Shane and I. What we want to show you right now is a small presentation regarding how artificial intelligence is helping the retail industry be a little bit more efficient and help you save costs when doing dynamic and/or intelligence pricing. Once again, my name is Rodrigo Leal. I have been with MongoDB for almost 4 months now. I'm based out of Mexico City, and it's a pleasure being with you today. We are going to be talking about what is dynamic pricing, or intelligent pricing, as it's also known. And then we are going to be digging in deeper into one of the use cases of dynamic pricing, which is going to be understanding how customer behavior is going to help us do this dynamic pricing. And we will show you a demo about it so that we can make an example of it. So first and foremost, what are the benefits? We were talking right now a few minutes ago of what the benefits can be. And when working with dynamic pricing, one of the good things is that when used correctly, and we are going to show you how you can use it correctly on one of the use cases, it can help you elevate demand during off-peak hours. We will dig into that. And also, in the end, what we really want, what retailers want, is we want to increase revenue. And we're going to help you do that at about 40 to 40% due to the demand increase, right? But you will be asking yourself, what is dynamic pricing? It basically is the knowledge, and I would say the technique of adjusting prices on the fly, on the moment, when several factors are playing into the behavior, into the use of the e-commerce portal. because dynamic pricing is all around e-commerce. It's all about e-commerce. Go ahead, Shane.
I suppose the place we're probably most familiar with dynamic pricing is like flights and hotels and things where, there's less seats, so the prices are going up, or, it's very soon, so the prices are expensive and they go up and they go down. And there's entire websites devoted to tracking this dynamic pricing that they use. But in normal retail, this is obviously going to come down the tracks as well too for normal inventory.
Yeah, it has to do with how inventory is moving, how many people you have in your portal. If it's many people, of course, more demand, well, you need to take the prices up. But sometimes you will like to be a little sensitive of which products you are offering to your customers. So maybe if the items are luxury, you can take the prices to go up. But in case you are seeing that the users that are going into your e-commerce portal, for instance, if they are maybe customers that are, for example, budget conscious, well, you will offer discounts instead of rising the prices. So it really, the setup of the model has to do with what you are selling, which are the segments or the demographics or the people you are offering them to. So in that way, you can define if the prices will go up or down. Of course, inventory is always a factor, as you said, but this is some of the things that you need to consider, specifically on retail stores, wholesales, etc., as compared with flights. For instance, that in flights you have an inventory too. You have an inventory of seats, for example, or rooms if you are a hotel. Make sense?
Yeah, totally. And I think that the one thing you touched on there is the personalization, right? So, I'm always curious when I go to websites, and maybe I go too often to look at the same product, and is that mean that they're not going to offer me a discount? And I go to websites and I put something in my basket, but I didn't purchase, and then I get this email, a short time later going, you left something in your basket, you didn't buy it. I get an email the day after going, it's still in your basket, do you want 20% off? So for me, being inquisitive and technical, I'm kind of going, maybe I'll add things to my basket and then I get the offers, as opposed to the other way around. So I presume we're going to cover most of this sort of scenarios.
Definitely, yes, because it all has to do in the end with data. So basically what the platform is doing is getting data, what the behavior of the consumer is, if they are browsing for too long, if they are adding things to the basket. But for example, to your example, if the platform detects that you are doing that on purpose, maybe because you know how the engine works, you can specify some rules in order for it to behave differently. It's very, very interesting, but because in the end, AI is here as an advisor, but it really right now needs a lot of input. It can be historical data. It means it needs to be retrained. It means it needs additional information, and it's all going around. It's a cycle. You see what works, you do it better. If something doesn't work, you can and may change that at will.
Perfect. Yeah, no, makes plenty of sense. Data drives the world. Hey, we work for MongoDB, so we would of course say that, but it is very much a true case, right?
Right. So basically, and we are getting into how the model works. We have different scenarios, Shane, in which we can use for dynamic pricing. For example, we can do a profitability analysis. So I'm going to be changing price depending on how much I'm going to earn. We can use, for example, and this is where we're focusing today, customer behavior. We want to see exactly the examples we were talking about just now. How you click on something, how you add something, if you spend a lot of time viewing a screen, And this is a very powerful ally. Imagine if we could use this on the actual physical stores. When we can do that, and there's an executive at the store and he's taking a look at you and he can come up with an offer because he input something on a system, that's something that can be done as well. But right now, where we're at this point is online. So basically, we cannot see the customer in the eye, which is something very important as well. But right now, we are dependent on the engines, on the different set of rules that we are setting. So right now, the example that we want to cover is customer behavior. But to let you know that there are many scenarios that we can use for different sub-industries, airlines, hotels, brick and mortar, all of that stuff. Make sense?
So you telling me, Rodrigo, at the end of this, I'm going to change my behavior and how I buy online on basis of the knowledge that you're going to let me know during the course of our presentation. And I see one of our viewers, and unfortunately, sometimes the connection through to LinkedIn doesn't work great in the app that we use. So I'm sorry, I don't know who it is. You're just LinkedIn user as far as we can see. I'm an online shopper on Amazon. Other websites exist. We will mention that. I get why I get WhatsApp messages of items in my cart tempting me to buy them all. Oh, totally. This is it. The customers are data, right? And the AI and the software is acting on that.
Exactly. And there are some rules working in the background, which are looking at huge amount of data. And this is also very important because when we're implementing this kind of engines together with AI, you need to have the best technology together, which is where we're going towards, so that whether you are using a mobile device or a browser, of course, you are looking at the different products and you will add them to your shopping cart, for example. But regarding this specific audience member that sent us their comment, they are getting a WhatsApp message, an email, but that's a little bit reactive. What we really want to accomplish with AI when working with our customers is to be able to catch them on spot immediately without any latency. Because with that, if I'm thinking over and putting things on my shopping cart and maybe it has been sitting there for about, I will go into an extreme, 5 seconds, 1 minute, I will get a notification, please buy this product, you will get X% of discount. Or as we are going to be looking at the demo, it can be real time. Maybe we're on Black Friday. With Black Friday, we have hundreds upon thousands of customers looking and browsing at the e-commerce sites real time. And we need a model that is very efficient in presenting with different alternatives or different prices, but it has to be on the moment. Because if the customer goes to the competitor or goes to the store in front across the street, we are going to be losing them forever.
That's it. It's hard to get them back, right? So, and you kind of, you want to make sure that you have captured. It's like somebody walking out of a physical shop. You mentioned that earlier. If they go, they go. That's it. You've lost your opportunity.
Yes. So Shane, how does it all work? This screen that we have here has some data sources going to the left, from the left to the right. You have the client device that is capturing all the different information, whether it is a mobile device, a mobile phone, a browser. You have the customer signing in, and then you have a service that is capturing all the events. Okay, the customer clicked on here and added it to the basket, and then went to the shopping cart, maybe filled in all the forms, the credit card information, but then at the very end, he went back, or maybe canceled all those information is going to be captured and sent over to some orchestrator that is going to be modeling that information
Okay.
so that can be interpreted by the AI training model. All the information is going over to the third box here, and this is where we are integrated MongoDB to Vertex AI. Basically, what we are doing is modeling all this data. It's called tensors, the technology that we're using, so that
Okay.
we can send that information to the model trainer so that it can work its magic, which of course we know is not magic. It has a different set of rules. We are converting everything to bits and bytes. Every rule is going to be applied, and also is going to be stored in a collection. What is a collection in MongoDB? Is something where we are going to be putting all the information in. All the events, all the tensors, all the data is going into a collection that is going to be having all the different documents, which is what we call in MongoDB, all the different registers for all the different actions, all the different data that is going to get stored. And that is going to be transformed by Vertex AI, is going back to the server. So we are going to be updating the catalogs. We are going to be preparing all the information so that in the actual application, we are going to see the end results. The good thing about having all these different components on screen, I wanted to show you how easy the environment it is to be prepared so that you can work with dynamic pricing modeling. Basically, all the components you need is MongoDB and Vertex AI by Google. So those two components are helping us process all the information sub-second, because we need to be giving all the different responses, updating prices real time, Shane.
Perfect. And so, just by those who may not be familiar with Vertex AI from Google, tell us a little bit about kind of like Vertex AI has a lot. There you go. There's your slide. So yeah, I was preempting your next slide. Apologies. Go ahead.
No, many thanks, because yeah, Vertex AI is the component of this, let's say, initiative, let's say project, when we are doing all the processing of all the different rules, when we are going to be doing the training of the model, when we are going to be deploying the AI application, and this is going to be, so to say, speaking with MongoDB, getting all the info. MongoDB is going to be processing all the information, sending it to Vertex AI, and then back, so that all the different rules which are used on large language models, that's a term that has to do everything with AI, all the LLMs are going to power our AI application. This is where all the magic regarding AI is taking place, and then we can send the information back on the workflows, back to the database, back to the different applications to get the results of the project that we want, which in this case is dynamic pricing. So basically, it's the AI engine that is going to receive all the information, process it, and then send it back to the actual applications.
Excellent. And it's worth pointing out that you can, if you're familiar with MongoDB and maybe you're using Google Cloud for your hosting, etc., that you can get MongoDB through Google Marketplace. So if you haven't leveraged MongoDB before and you want an easy way to do that, by all means do so. And the Vertex AI is one of the integrations that we have with Google Cloud. We've had a number of integrations with them across the board for many of their key products and frameworks as well too. And obviously Vertex AI here in this case is doing all the AI heavy lifting, which are most of my streams these days and most of the examples that we're talking to our developer audience about. So it's great to have a real world example in this space as well too. So yeah, thank you for that. You preempted my question. You had a slide ready, so I appreciate that.
No, many thanks, Shane, for introducing me to this question. And well, once we know what Vertex AI is and does, I want to show you how it would work on a real life scenario. So here in MongoDB and well, in developer world, we love seeing architecture diagrams because they really help us show how the data is going to be moving. So once again, beginning from the left side of the screen, we have all the different customer devices. You have different platforms, you have browsers, you have cell phones, you have Android, you have iOS. The good thing about MongoDB is that it's designed to work with everything, as you were pointing out, Shane. So we can work with Vertex AI, we can work with third-party providers, and we, of course, can integrate with many applications as well. So basically, we are getting all this data, and then it's going to be sent by a couple services and, so to say, I forgot the word in English, but well, it's going to be processed by these pub-sub events, which is going to transform the data. Orchestrator is the word I was looking for.
Yes.
So it's coming from all the devices, it's going to get orchestrated, it's going to be using a pub-sub type of events. All the information is going to be transformed into tensors. So basically, it's a new concept. In MongoDB, we have documents, we have collections. Well, with AI, we have tensors, which is going to be transforming data in a way that all the different information can be processed by Vertex AI here in the middle of the screen using dynamic pricing endpoint, which is going to be applying all the different rules which are going to define if the price is going to be going up or down. It all really depends on the customer segment, on the behavior, on the different rules. So all this is happening here. Of course, interacting real time with MongoDB. The good part about MongoDB is that all the information is stored together. So we don't have to rely on joins. We don't have to be looking for information all across. Everything is together. So as you can see on the right side, here is a very small diagram in which we have all the information. And you can also see the tensor information here on the green box on top right of corner of the screen. Then once the information gets processed, you are going to be following the blue line here in which the model is going to be throwing the predicted price. That information is going to be stored on the collection, on the same document. So you have the product information, you have the price, you have the inventory, everything is all together. So the application on the left is going to be displaying real time if the price is going up or going down. And we are going to be showing just that in a couple minutes in the demo.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I love the architecture diagram. It's very simple to understand kind of the flow. And there's a lot of data flowing, both from left to right in this instance, and sometimes right to left as well too. And I think that's kind of goes back to what we were chatting about earlier. As you're browsing, whatever devices you're using or sites, etc., this kind of streaming data, your usage, what you've been in, what pages, what you've been doing, that all helps inform the model over on the other side as to potentially, I suppose, your probability of buying or not and affecting the outcome.
Right. And as you said, a lot of data is moving through this diagram. In real life, imagine having a Black Friday. How many customers, how many consumers do you have online at the same time? And you need to be showing the different price changes sub-second, real time across all the different devices. Is just a wonderful piece of technology that we have here with MongoDB and in this case Vertex AI, because we need to work all this out for millions of customers at the same time.
Yeah, the scale is simply staggering. Yeah, it's enormous.
Yes. So basically, what we're going to be showing now, I'm going to be switching gears here to show you a small dynamic pricing demo. Basically, what we are going to be showing on screen is we have an example of a retail store that specializes in swag, so to say. So we have all the different products, you have all the pictures, you have all the prices. But the good thing is that we are going to be showing a little bit how it works real time for you. We are going to be for all of us tech savvy or just the non-technical people, what we are going to be simulating right now, every 3 seconds, the engine is going to be processing all the sample data and rules, simulating that we have 25 customers on the site. It's a very small sample, but just to let you know what's behind all this when we're working with the demo. Of course, this is nothing compared to real life, in which you will have thousands of customers interacting with the portal. But the platform, the technology is very scalable, so you will be able to follow and get all the different needs covered from your customers real time. So if it's good for you, let's change now to the actual demo.
Perfect. Let's work away.
I switch sides, Shane. Can you see the switch?
Yep, that's clear. We can see the pop-up store welcome screen. Yeah.
Wonderful. So basically, I'm going to be entering my favorite e-commerce portal. I have here my site in which I can go to my home screen. I can shop. I can go to about. It basically is the application that we built for this specific demo. So I'm going to go and shop now. I'm interested in buying some swag. I love the MongoDB socks. I love of course, the notebook.
You never have too many socks, you see. Yeah. You always need
Yes, and these green ones, well, black ones with a little touch of green MongoDB, it looks wonderful. And also my kids love Lego, so I'm interested in knowing how much does it cost. So basically, we have all the different catalog. On the left side, we can, of course, filter by brand, by type of product, all the different things that we already have in place on our e-commerce platforms. And what I'm going to be doing is running a small program I was telling you about here, which is called Open Store.
Okay.
And in here, the magic is going to be working. Every 3 seconds, we are going to simulate actions by 25 customers, and you are going to be seeing some changes real time.
Okay.
Each product has, of course, its picture, its description, and it has a predicted price. This has to do with how the customer behavior is going to be impacting the price, which the suggested retail price is around $20 for these slippers. Right. And you are going to be able to see how the prices will be going up or down, because all the different things that we saw in the previous diagram, information is getting in, all this data is going to be transformed into tensors, is going to Vertex AI, and we are going to be seeing the results. So let's wait and see. The process is going to take about 3 or 4 seconds. I'm going to enable the technology real time. I'm going to click on Open Store and be on the lookout, because some of the predicted prices are going to be changing. As you can see here, you have a red arrow because the price is going up, the price is going down. Let me try and catch some of those. Here you can see the price will be up, whereas after staying at $10, and you have here the trend is going down. Everything is happening real time. So, of course, here for this example, you are seeing a purple tag and an arrow, but real time, of course. Once the customer goes in, they will see the actual retail price, and it's going to be like static from then on the moment.
Yeah, for the purposes of the demo, you're exposing
Yes.
this, but yeah, no, it makes sense. And the arrows are great. What I know you're saying, look, this is a small demo, 25, artificial users, as it were. What's going on behind the hood here, Rodrigo? What is it, purchases of these products or interest in these products that would go up or go down or drive the price in those directions?
All of them. It all has to do with the different set of rules that you
Mm-hmm.
define when building the model. It can relate to clicks. If I click on the
Okay.
Reebok slippers, it can be an action.
Mm-hmm.
When it goes to the shopping cart, that can be another action. If I remove it from the shopping cart, that can also lead to another action. All of those data is sent to Vertex AI and then processed and sent back so that the prices may go up and down.
Mm-hmm.
But it all really has to do with which kind of products have which kinds of rules. You can put input rules on everything, not
Okay.
just maybe all the different products. It can be by category, it can be by customer segment, it can be by loyalty program. All
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
different things can go in and factor what is going to be happening here, because we want to give a specific and personalized experience for each one of our customers. Maybe if I go into the portal, I will see some behavior, but if you go into the same portal because you have a different loyalty category, you are going to see a different experience. That's what all this is all about, right?
Okay. Okay. So the experience is very personalized, and therefore, obviously prices are going up and going down. Above all, it's kind of, it's really tailoring the product, tailoring the solution towards you as the customer. So say, how does this work, for example, if I'm not logged in or I'm private browsing? Is the same level of knowledge in the system there, or is that obfuscated and it doesn't know and I'm getting a set price, for example?
No, because for example, we can have the technology. Maybe if you are an anonymous user,
Hmm.
we can take into account different variables. For example, with your IP address, we can get an idea of where you're based out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Make sense?
Hmm.
And for example, if you are coming, let's say right now I'm the Leafy pop-up store, but if I'm browsing from Amazon or I'm browsing from Best Buy, or if I'm browsing from another e-commerce site, it can take that into consideration as well. So to
Okay.
say, well, this customer, maybe his session is lasting about 17 minutes. So to say, I'm getting ideas here right now, but that data, maybe to know that you have been jumping from portal to portal, can give me an idea. Well, this customer is not really decided on what to purchase, so maybe I can give a small discount in order to capture this customer this time. Some things like that can be done.
Okay, okay. So there's lots of ways, if the rules are created correctly, that there isn't a bias necessarily in a system like this, or at least if there does seem to be, that those rules can change or those rules can be adapted as well too. So, that it doesn't, discriminate in any way, perhaps.
Yes. Yes, and this is very important. We want these processes not that complicated. We want them to work for everyone. Of course, to be as transparent as possible. If maybe some customer asks for the rules of why this is happening, maybe we can give them an idea of what's going on behind stage. It all has to do with giving them, of course, the best experience to the customers. But we don't want to be, for example, if we had a set of rules of engagement or ethical
Hmm. Hmm.
um, rules for AI, we want to be transparent, we want to be fair, we want to consider maybe things like demand, but
Okay.
always be on the lookout of how to give the best possible customer experience and of course keep our business growing. But there are some recommendations that we can of course give you. For example, avoid overcomplicating pricing, or neglect transparency, or how to make the best of customer segmentation. There are certain and several tips and tricks that we can recommend when implementing something, so that it can be used as fairly as possible for all our customers.
Okay, so in those instances, the retailers can avoid certain pitfalls from using AI-powered dynamic pricing. Is there any areas in which it wouldn't be suitable to do this, process using this dynamic pricing? Kind of, I suppose, not the pitfalls, as we say, but like kind of any areas that we'd say, well, it's not going to work, in like, you mentioned Black Friday, right? Huge demand, huge traffic. Is the dynamic pricing going to fail with such traffic and such demand and things changing so rapidly, perhaps?
No. I believe that specifically on Black Friday or those kinds of events, I believe that's when we can get the most of this kind of technology, because it's going, of course, to help you to help retailers maybe get a lot of revenue out of it, get a lot of customers, maintain them, and of course give the best prices according to the set of rules. Mostly on Black Friday, what you do is, if you have a TV that costs, I don't know, $400, you are going to be selling it at $350 or $300. But once demand is going up and your inventory levels are going down, maybe you can add a little extra, because people is going to be willing to pay for that. I can think on the opposite side, maybe where dynamic pricing should not apply, or maybe is not the best use case scenario, I would think could be like, for example, pharmacy stores, or something that is of basic usage or very needed. For me, it will make a lot of sense, for example, for like taking a vaccine price and sending it up, because it's like a basic need. That, I will think, won't be necessarily the best case of using dynamic pricing, in my opinion.
It certainly wouldn't. But we did see that during COVID, right? Face masks and hand sanitizers went through the roof. So that is the wrong part of dynamic pricing. But I think, and you're getting at this across definitely, that, this is about enhancing customer loyalty. This is about, if being logged into a website that you use allows you to get the best possible options available to you based on past purchase history, the browsing, how often you've had things in your cart, etc. So to my mind, this is kind of tailoring the fact that best price, loyalty, availability, etc., all in the customer's favor as opposed to the negative, to be perfectly honest, right?
That makes a lot of sense. That's right.
Yeah. And as we see AI take hold as well too, I would imagine that there's probably, coming in on the back of this, if retailers are adopting dynamic pricing, I'm sure we're going to see some other websites using AI agents, etc., looking at these pricing, being able to do the price comparison sites that we've seen around us before as well too.
Yes, definitely will. And once again, it will all have to do with data, which site, which business has the best prices, and that will also feedback on the retailers to be able to give a better price. So once again, as we've been saying all along, it has to do with information, with data. We're working with huge amount of data, and the competitors are going to be looking at that, maybe third parties, and in the end, I believe it's going to be working for the better. And for us customers, it's going to be helping us have the better prices. But one of the first questions that you had at the beginning of today's call is it going to help me grow my business? Once again, I believe we are on the way of doing exactly that, helping businesses grow, because we can be more mindful of how pricing is going to be set so that the business can grow, and but also they can retain their customers with them.
So
Right.
in real time, you're showing there, the changes that are happening to enhance and kind of help customer loyalty, help people towards that flow of purchase. I suppose AI can also be used for the retailer with regard to all of this information they're gathering, all of this streaming information, everything that they've created tensors from, to manage their own inventory in the future as well, too. Too often you see, I mean, I know a lot of retailers work in kind of just in time, all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
But obviously all of this extra information of the browsing and the buying or the not buying or the adding to cart habits of visitors will help that retailer really tailor what they're selling to their customers in the long term as well.
Definitely, yes, Shane, because not only pricing, but as you're saying, having all these historics and predictions can help retailers define how demand is going to be planned, which items they should order and have in stock. It's a huge world of opportunities within retail: inventories, pricing, promotions, loyalty programs, coupons that this technology can be used for. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I suppose above all to make it, probably smarter recommendations as well too, right? Knowing, like I think some websites, I won't name them, but they're not so good at their recommendations. If I go to buy a Wi-Fi router and I bought one, I don't need another one. So please don't show me other things
Yes.
you might like is being another Wi-Fi router. I've just bought one. I only need one, thankfully, for my house. Job done. And so
Yeah.
I think anything that makes people's shopping experience a little bit better online, and above all, possibly, as you rightly say, more personalized, more focused towards what they're doing, because that to me is the piece that online shopping misses out on versus the in-person, right? You've got the
Right.
shop assistant, they're knowledgeable, they know things, it's not just kind of trying to make a sale, they're imparting their knowledge. And hopefully, the move in using AI and using the tools that are available along with the data will help that happen. Where do you think, you mentioned earlier that, AI is relatively new into retail, but looking forward and the experience that you've had, what do you think is happening over the next number of years in AI retail? Will it be the case that, it knows what you're going to buy, when you're going to buy it, and it just sends you an email going, you usually buy 2 shirts and 3 trousers at Christmas? Where is it going, do you think, Rodrigo?
Yeah, and that's a very good question. And for example, dynamic pricing is there, recommendations are there, but what about, for example, something that's also getting trendy is virtual assistants.
Okay.
For example, we have a very large cosmetics customer up in the US, in which they have a virtual assistant. I can go there, maybe shop for some creams, and what can happen, and is one of the trends that will follow on retail, is maybe based out of the cream I'm buying, it can know, quote unquote, which kind of skin I have, so it may recommend additional products that are going to be helping me take care of my skin. And based on purchasing history, they know how much I usually spend on my shopping cart, so they might recommend something that fits into my cart as well. So that's one point. Virtual assistant chatbots is going to be more efficient in a couple of years. Dynamic pricing, of course, and as you were saying, recommendations. When I'm buying maybe a router, I don't want information about different routers. I want to maybe take a look at maybe a Wi-Fi extensor or a network cable or something that is related to my shopping but not
Sure.
something to replace what I already purchased, right?
No, definitely true. And I think, look, the space is relatively young, and I think obviously the retailers need to, as you said earlier, keep on top of what their rules are here. You know how the system works to get the benefit out of it. Is within the AI kind of rules behind that? Is there alerts and mechanisms involved here to help the retailers fine tune that as well? In your experience?
Yeah, definitely. In the end, all the data that is going to be processed is being analyzed as well. So we provide the means of having all this data working out, of
Hmm.
all this information working, well, operational data working real time, but also you can have the means of analyzing a copy of that information real time as well, or near real time. It already depends on what we want to see, so
Hmm.
that the retailers can see what's going on. If, for example, the customers, I will go back to one of the first examples that we gave. If it's quote unquote cheating the system by adding things to the shopping cart and then letting them sit for a couple of minutes, see what happens. So that kind of things can be, of
Hmm.
course, analyzed, set alerts, and help retailers understand how their data is being used. And of course, they can learn from that, and they can retrain their models using those inputs. That's all cyclic, and working, retraining, remodeling the system is what this is all about.
Yeah. Well, look, I think the demo it kind of really showed that. I mean, obviously we concentrated on the dynamic pricing element of it, but as you say, there's so much more streaming data in the background about those customers' experiences, and hopefully, you know, I know, for example, my own experience. You buy something and then you see it, cheaper online elsewhere, and all of that sort of stuff. So you kind of,
Yes.
I think this hopefully might give you, as a loyal customer, backed by the data, backed by your experiences, backed by the shopping habits, backed by time of year, customer demand, etc., the best possible solution, because you can waste so much time browsing the web for slightly cheaper for the same
Yes.
product, right? As well
Mm-hmm.
too, and slightly cheaper doesn't necessarily always work out better half the time as well, because you end up then maybe taking longer for postage, or less customer service, or paid for returns, or poor return, and so cheaper is not necessarily better. And I think if you can take all of these data points that are being gathered throughout this AI use case, to
Mm-hmm.
make ultimately a better customer experience, a better loyalty
Right.
experience for customers, it's ideal. Um, Anything else to add into as we close out? I know we had a couple of questions we dealt with earlier. We got one in essentially, and I know I said LinkedIn user doesn't expose, but we know that this is Dipshika, because our colleague Luke already answered this. But essentially, MongoDB works across the three cloud providers. So Google Cloud, as we've
Yeah.
seen here in the demonstration, but also AWS and Azure as well too.
Mm-hmm.
We also do multi-cloud. So that
Yeah.
comes into instances where you can't be solely on one cloud, or there might be legal or geographic reasons why you need to share across. And MongoDB is able to do multi-cloud, which is something we introduced probably about a year and a half ago, I think, and it's been gone down very well. Any
Mm-hmm.
final parting comments for the audience today, Rodrigo, in terms of kind of anywhere else that they can learn more about this, or any good blogs or sites that you see, or where do you learn, or how do you keep up to date with what's going on in the AI space yourself?
Sure thing, Shane. Yeah, and some of the resources we usually do use is, of course, our website, mongodb.com. We have our different social networks as well, LinkedIn. We have so much resources that you can get access to from LinkedIn and our main website. And of course, the team is here for you. We have a team all around the globe that can help you answer questions. If you want to see additional information, additional conversations, this is the retail team all across Europe, Americas, Asia that can help you work things out. If you have any questions regarding where you can get information, we are here for you. And once again, thank you very much for joining us for this session. What we really wanted to show you is how dynamic pricing works based out of consumer behavior, which is basically gathering all the information from the consumers real time, processing it using Vertex AI in this case, but of course you can use other platforms. But all the ecosystem around MongoDB will help you process all the information very quickly, and in the end show the results or show the changes in prices, in this case, real time to your customers. This is very important. Process and work with all the information on one side only, on the same place, and this will help you get the results even quicker. So Shane, really, I thank you for this opportunity of being here, and very, very happy that you have invited me.
No worries. Listen, no, thank you for your time and effort and the super clear presentation and the demo at the end. As you mentioned there earlier, we do have a ton of resources. Obviously, I'm on the developer relations team, so our main output is our developer center here at MongoDB. So you can just go to developer.mongodb.com to see all the articles that the developer relations team and our engineers and our product team have put together. And if you search, we've got a good search there, obviously. Why wouldn't we? We're MongoDB. If you search for retail, you'll find a lot of kind of articles that we've done in the past on retail solutions that we have as well too. If you're interested in kind of engaging a bit more and you have any particular questions, the place to do that is our community forum. So community.mongodb will take you there. That's where a lot of our engineers and our product team hang out, our developer relations team as well too. So if you have any questions, you'll find a load of categories in there, including AI and Gen AI as well too. So you can ask your questions there. And either our amazing MongoDB community will be answering, or somebody from MongoDB itself will jump on and help you as well too. So certainly check out community.mongodb.com as well too. So Rodrigo, thank you so much for this. It's been great to have you on board. And as you mentioned at the beginning, like fair play, 4 months into MongoDB, you're on MongoDB TV, doing a live stream in front of our global audience. So really do appreciate your time and effort that you've put into this. And above all, obviously, we do appreciate everybody who tunes in and joins us here on MongoDB TV. We're delighted to see the audience. It's what enables us to keep doing this. So if you've liked this, obviously, please leave a comment and do the liking and subscribing and all the usual stuff that you need to do on the various social networks, and tune in for what essentially from our perspective is every Tuesday and every Thursday, there's generally a show on MongoDB TV. So for content such as this from Rodrigo, loads of other areas, and obviously AI is huge these days in what we put out. It's great to jump on board, see what's going on, interact with our presenters, have the questions like you've done today. So thank you so much to our audience in particular, but to you indeed, Rodrigo, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure to have you on board. I hope to have you back on again in the future. But for now, from me, Shane McAllister, and from you, Rodrigo, thank you everybody for joining us. And great to have you. Look forward to have you again. Thank you very much and take care.
Thank you.